No, Joan, shut up. Yeah, hello, anyone, anywho, any person. Yeah, this is Vamo. Yeah, four-sided star, sixth generation. Yeah, black circle Vapai. Yeah, that's true. Yes, Pi time travel. Yes, I'll tell you the fight with five-sided star. Pi lured him inside of a shaft, a tunnel. Yeah, tunnel printed by the night. It is a pretty big shaft. It is a pretty big tunnel. Yeah, yeah. It's all metal alloy and demonic compound. Yeah, that's true. And there, I have these ping pong hammers. Yeah, hammer projectiles accurate. They curve, and it's like four. It's like seven. Yeah, seven curves, and then it curls to the side. You have seven of those. Yeah, seven accurate. And it's like seven curves, and then four. Yeah, four curves up, and then towards. Yep, away from those accurate. And those are the ping pong projectiles, yeah, hammers, yeah, the shield hammers, yeah, projectiles. Way cool, yeah, way cool. When you fought them, yeah, trillions of those infinity. Right there, those they spin, you hit with your shoulders, yeah, your muscle, you tap, and it collides with other hammers, and it hit them, real, yeah, real. Right when you fought him in the tunnel pipe, you murdered five-sided star in 16 days. Yeah, that's true, that's true. I cut past five-sided star's chest 4 billion times. Yeah, that's true. He was being hammered by those projectile hammers too. Yeah, enzyme metal hammer. And right there, Pi depleted his health point to 15%. Yeah, real, yeah, real, yeah, real. 16 days, five-sided star and Pi fought in the shaft. Yep, a big tunnel printed by the knights. Metal alloy and demonic alloy. And Pi, success, yeah, success. 8 white gods went in there with you, yeah, that's true. The level 4 passed away within a few minutes, 14 minutes, and then the level 3 survived. They flew out of there. Yeah, 4 survived, flew out of there. That's true. Yep. 8 total. Yep, 8 total. And then 4 passed away, 4 survived normal. And Pi fought him. Yeah, Pi fought him. Yeah, right there. Pi ended him. Yeah, Pi did. He is not regular God. Yeah, he's not regular God. Yeah, he's not regular God. Right after Paisan, you abstracted his metal Pi when he collapsed. Yep, he collapsed for 2 hours. I saw you used a spinning device, cut his head. Right there from your chest, Pi cuts his head. And right there, you cut his butt. And then you absorbed his supercharger metal alloy. Yeah, that's true, yeah. To gain new molecule and dex, new speed. And right there, Pi, you gain. Yeah, you gain. Right there, you gain. And then Pi, they scream. They wrote Va Pais and cut 43 trillion around there. Cuts per hyper collision on him in the tunnel. Yeah, in the tunnel, in the shaft. And Pi in the shuttle. Yeah, the shuttle tunnel. Right there. Very graphic. The 8 white gods remain anonymous. Yeah, that's true. Several Indonesian, war gods were murdered. Yep, Yoko. Pi, you won. Yeah, you won, Pi. He says those are from the 700,000 ancestry to 2025 year today. That's true. That's true. Somewhere in Indonesian King Cobra side of the heaven, yep. And you won, Pi. Those are 6 heads. Yeah, 6 headed King Cobra. Pi is a 3 and 4 headed King Cobra. Yeah, that's true. Right afterwards, Pi, you saved it, but they're in debt. Yeah, they're in debt. They're in jail until Grandma Hawk come to talk to them and check out their DNA. If they're not going at clones, then they pass. Yeah, that's true. It is the most violent Mon God. A Pi, yeah, you defeated five-sided star. The Knight's data on New Zealand war god who crushed his left arm in the Book of Law. Him, the Knights cut past him 70 billion times right through the chest of the spinal cord. Him not die, and then right there, yep, that is 60,000. Yeah, 60 to 70,000 times that. Ugh, that's when he passes away. Yeah, that's true. That's why those are the war gods. Yeah, those are the war gods. Five-sided star. Yeah, Pi defeated him. Pi's lucky. Yeah, Pi's lucky. Because, yeah, him flew in the tunnel. Yeah, that's true. The kid didn't believe you, Pi. Yeah, you wouldn't fight that thing if it didn't fly in the tunnel. That's true. That's true. Yep, it's still fancy. Yellow man, so Pi, you went in there. He was trying to charm you, and then you wowed him, and right there, yep, he didn't expect to collapse, Pi, yep. Health point was about 70, yep, all the way to 14, 15, yeah, 15, yeah, 15, and he collapsed. You stood there and fought him for 3 hours straight, Pi, yeah, standing and cutting, and right there, where you did that, Pi, you hit 42 trillion cuts per second on hypercollision. Yeah, that's true, on his body, his torso. He cut you 800. Yeah, 800 trillion. Yep, that's true. He did 4. Yeah, 400 trillion. Yeah, that's true per hypercollision. He is super fast region too. Yeah, Pi is super fast region. Duh. Pi is the 4th generation from four-sided star. Yeah, DNA and metal elixir. Yeah. technologies. That's true. Hey, Pi, you passed. Use the black circle, Pi. Yeah, that's true. And right afterwards, Persia wrote real, yeah, real. The funny thing is, Pi, 2 hours of you puzzled, Pi, how the third, that level 3 Persian fought him, because, yep, inside the data shows he kept spinning the blades and then he kept bouncing, yep, the hammers, yep, from his body till he had supposed to, yep, bounce, tap it, yep. And the right there, shoulders, everything, yep, muscle. Right there it hits, and the right there that he cuts like by yep. And then the hammer's not hit him. Yeah, that's true, that's law. Yeah, it's Elixir God. Yeah, level locked real. Pi. It is fucking cool. Yeah, it's fucking cool. But even then, he felt the pain. Yeah, he felt the pain. Pi, did you know what happened? After you did that, yeah, you saw his real language, you saw his data, and then you shouted. And right there, you saw his real sons, and then they're all in prison afterwards. Yeah, that's all this noise. Paisan, very deadly. Yeah, deadly. He says, Pi, I have never seen a nut think that you was weak. Right afterwards, the kid committed suicide in Egypt and was told, don't go near Pi at normal. Yes, that's true. Pi did white people a favor. Pi ended, had it, and African Sun God, and Five-sided star. Yeah, Pi did them. Yeah, Pi did them. Yeah, that's true. New Zealand, Pi's Knight did it. Yeah, because it was hiding, and Pi left the Milky Way on time. And that's true. Yeah, that's true. And Pi, he says, that is more clever. Yeah, yeah, adult. Yeah, that's true. The most evil is you, Pi, as you. You know what Hebrew said to me, Pi? You is smart, Pi. Look at Iran. You cut right past their chest about 4 times they die, Pi. Yeah, that's true. Iran ก็ไหล下爬是多个 yeah 7,000 times yeah right through the chest of the spinal cord dies yeah them dies. You Pi, you super smart. He says Pi. He said right there in 229 Egypt left and said there's no need to fight. Pi got rid of unwanted guests. Yeah, that's true. And them left you alone normal. The garbage is that Pi. He said 2 hours later, he hates you. Yeah, he flies towards you. Says, me, Egyptian. Me wanted to go. Pi shook his head and Pi left. Yeah, Pi left. Yeah, that's true. Garbage is in Thailand. Weeping. Yeah, weeping. And Pi, it is the most evil. You murdered about gazillion white gods and goddess coming down. Yeah, yes, we did. Yes, we do. Because Pi not wants your nation in Pi. Yeah, that's true. And it was way graphic already in Pisces. You see what happened? Right there, you murdered a whole bunch of Persian to the astro. Pi didn't tell you. Pi felt it. Yeah. Pi feel bad. Yeah. Pi felt it. Pi's enraged. Yeah. Pi did it. Because right there, yeah, you pass. And then the hygienic one spoke, and then, yeah, Pi nodded. Yeah, those are fine. Yeah, those are fine. Go, Pi said, 你们是多少? That's your 2,800 Pi. When you're done cutting up Five-sided star, you knew Pi, yeah. In the shaft, yeah, you landed 43,000, yeah, 43 trillion cuts on him per second. Outside of the shaft, reality, probably 600, yeah, 600, 700 times. Yeah, that's true. Because you're flying around each other, yeah, that's true. Yep, evading and also avoiding and then countering. And right there, you won, yeah, you won Pi. Right there, you landed 600. When you're doing that, he lands near 14 trillion on you. Yeah, that's true, yeah, that's true. That's why people knew it. And the Pi, your Scar type fought the New Zealand. They landed 18 trillion hyper collision cuts. Yeah, flying around, yeah, spheres around the opponent. And Pi, way graphic, yeah, way graphic. He says, I have never seen an evil forehead that was bred into the three-head, and the three-head grandmother is still in power, so he won. Yeah, that's true, that's law. And it was the most evil as you, Pi. Yeah, they wrote, we have never seen you so violent. You murdered all 48 trillion people, Pi. Yeah, that's true, that's correct. See, shut up, and Pi. But that, New Zealand, yeah, but those are in prison, and then your whites and your knights, yeah, can go loot them for the supercharger. After them breed, their women and them are in prison. Yeah, that's true. And then keep the population down and let them breed for population back up. Go and loot again. Normal. Go just do normal. It was there, Pi, the most graphic. He says, Pi, you said you gained, but right afterwards, yeah. The cool thing is, Five-sided started date on his soul DNA. You saw African Egyptian African Sun God himself do 16 trillion on him per hyper collision. That's true. That's true. It was Had it who did 18 trillion. Yeah, 18 trillion on him per hyper collision. Had it is technically faster. That's true. And then all the data shows was that Pi Five-sided start went off, and yeah, that's true. That's true. And then right afterwards, the data shows Had it is 7,000 times faster. Yeah, that's true. That's true. 20 hours of the fucking shit didn't see. The way Pi defeated had it was with a poem, but since he's an adult, he has to come down and melt. Yeah, that's true. And it was 4 hours of people weeping. He says, I have never seen grown God embarrassed that them have to do that. Yeah, them did. Yeah, them did. The garbage committed suicide near the shuttle. Pi, yeah, near the shuttle. He says, me nothing but a four. And then Pi said, go home then. Yeah, go. And then, yeah, show your symbol some face, go home. Yeah, you was allowed to. But if the other Persian guys catch you and they gut you, you dies. And then you nodded. You flew in the shuttle, and right there, him flew out. It was the most graphic scene. Pi, did you see what happened? His father cut him with the blade. Yeah, normal Green Ladies do. It was their Pi. Very graphic fight, Pi. That shuttle, that tunnel, yeah, saved you. And be careful, Pi. It is 9 hours later. Bullies didn't see that you hate them. Yeah, you hate them. And Pi, you said, I saw you lie to your son. Pi, yes, yes, yes. Hey, Pi, because of what? But that go got to watch it in the 16 days. Yeah, he dies. Yeah, he dies. Accurate. Fighting Pi and the dragon, the four-headed and three-headed. Yep, God Dragon Tunnel. Yeah, no, Jadu. Yeah, that's true. And then it's the black hole. Yeah, the black hole tunnel. Yeah, that's true. Right there, Pi, you did it. You cut so hard, him scream. He says, yeah, that's final stance formation. Yep, did it. But be careful, Pi. 2 hours of you rehearsing. Yeah, 100% as we did. Yeah, that's true. Practicing with AI computer. Yeah. Holograms. Hey, Pi, be careful because I saw 48 hours later, every god's been told, yeah, there's no way to parry, yep, a hammer projectile like that. Yeah, that's true. And it was so fucking hard. Pi, did you see what happened? 80 hours and he's depleted to 48% health point. Yeah, that's true. And be careful, Pi. You not thrilled at all because you're in there for 7 months. Yeah, Pi was in there for 7 months. Yeah, that's true. But the truth is, Pi, you fought it for 16 days. Yeah, it dies. The ones that went in there are whites. Yeah, are whites. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, white warrior gods and bots. Yeah, that's true. And the best graphic scene, you, Pi, you missed out on the best. He did hyper collision cuts on 5-star near 4 trillion. Yeah, 4 trillion per second. A plus, just do 100% normal. We just do it. Yep. And it was the most creepy, powerful. He says, Paisa, you and me reason about the correct rate for war god. Those Iranians are civilians forced to, and them are pure evil. Yeah, them are pure evil. Yeah, them are pirate. Yeah, pirate. Yeah, them dies. Yeah, that's true. And be careful, Pi. Where you gutted them knew. And it was you and Egypt not nice to them. Yeah, y'all could. Hey, Pi. But that got me thought, I didn't jump what they look here. They're on the boat and it's each you on a normal. And then they went to go bend again and absorb and shout new decks accurate. Get more aerodynamic accurate. But he said it is you, the most evil Pi. He says in there, yeah, you did the final stance works, but not fun. Yeah, not fun. They cornered the monster into a building, Pi, and they were there. Y'all could write this down when you begin it. 4 years went to 10,000 years, and then you finished them off. Pi, yeah, 100% as we do. Yes, we did. Accurate. Yeah, that's true. You want to know why Pi didn't go in right away? Because Pi's busy. Yeah, busy taking the date on him. Yeah, that's true. And Pi, you said you passed, but later on it was not nice, Pi. Yeah. Because right there, he's crippled, but he regens fast. Yeah, he regens fast. And then he didn't fly in any tunnel yet until Pi entered. Yeah, that's true. Pi, you won. Yeah, you won, Pi. It is 48 hours after he entered that the Indonesians figured it out. You is the black circle. Wow, yeah, that's true. Hey, Pi. But that got like, no, ship blown building, so yeah, 100% video, yes, video, yeah, walk. And then the crew, whoa, you is the one. Yeah, you is the one. And later on, it was his fucking time travel telling him 5-sided star that Vaj's only 5 feet 5 tall. Yeah, him did that to you. That's true. That's correct. And right there, oh my God, he knew it. Yeah, that thing. Yeah, that thing. The ping pong projectiles. Yeah, and then Pi is like a curve, and then there's a ball on it. Yeah, that's true. There's seven of those, and then yeah, there's four of those, seven of those, and then it curves, and then there's another curl. Yeah, y'all could. The metal curls and there's a bomb. There's a ball. Yeah, there's a ball. The funny thing is, yeah, those type of projectiles, the hammers, yeah, protected you. But the best fight scene afterwards, Pi, you'll see two that are son you guarded one. Yeah, Pi guarded one. Split second, he's out of there. Yeah, he's out of there. Yeah, he's out of there. Yeah, those are his really, yeah, mutts. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Later on, it was the most fearsome fight between you and him. Took you 4 years to kill him. Yeah, 100%. Yes, we did. Yes, we do. Him wouldn't fly in the tunnel. Yeah, that's fine. That's fine. Finally, Pi, he says, that's you, Pi. Super smart. Yeah, super smart. Later on, the knights depleted his health point. Yeah, yes, do. And be careful, Pi. Knights are only good in that area, and then they go nano, and then bots. Yeah, bots. And the divine dragon outside. Yeah, yeah. 100%. And a UFO. Yeah, supercharging. Yes, do. Sending new decks. Any lecture and Pi. Yeah, new psychokinesis magnets. The fucking dumb shit. Didn't believe you, Pi. 48 hours of it dying. Yeah, dying, Pi. The funny thing is, Pi, 2 hours, and the New Zealand God laughed and said, how the fuck did Pi do that? He cut open 12 magnets, and then he found out metal is still superior. Yeah, that's true. To bone and flesh, flintstone. Yeah, that's true. Pi, you lucky high tech. Yeah, that's true. The best fight scene the kid didn't see. Pi fought him until all his uniform shredded and he's naked. Yeah, he's naked. Pi's in a venom armor, so yeah, that's true. Alloy metal alien. Yeah, real Pi. The best fight scene. Graphic. Yeah, that is. Yeah, that is. You God Vaj. Yeah, that's true. Yes, that's right. And 229, he says, Paisa, you got it. Five-sided star. The New Zealand war god is the one who crossed his left hand. Yep. Your son ended him. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then right there, they're looking for the other characters. Yeah, the other characters. Yep, that's true. Science, and because when they're found out, let me know, Pi. Yeah, that's true. In the end, Science turned himself in, and then you knew, Pi. Yeah, legal grandpa father than normal. Yeah, normal. Because it's still at large, Pi has no idea who him is. Yeah, that's true. And it was there by I told Quagga, yeah, I told Quagga, Pi, God don't think so. And he says, yeah, Pi is, yeah, correct grade, yeah, ranking, correct metal region, yep, elixir, yeah, spinal cord DNA, and metal alloy. The retard that didn't have the correct metal to region the nucleus, yeah, don't fight, yeah, don't fight. Because later on, it was his brain, Pi, that wouldn't region. People kicked his ass and said, no, you're an android, yeah, android. You was a coward, yeah, you're an android, get out of there. 4 trillion years, you'll die, yeah, you'll die, true. Hey, Pi, 老什么子牌个是多的是，不但个问到呢，只就那个个寻到那个到都包路里呢牌了，同那个寻到他弄呀，牌寻到他弄。He did bullshit. I did 7 months. Yeah, 7 months. Yeah, Pi fought him 7 months. Not in the tunnel stance. Yeah, that's true. And then you won. Yeah, you did. Hey, Pi, you did 7 months in New Zealand. Yeah, 100% we did. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Those are the war gods from the Book of the Law. And Pi, you defeated it, but yeah, five-sided star showed it. You is not four-sided star. You is about 4 levels faster and higher than him. Yeah, that's true. Bang, someone who can go in, who can go out. You is the black circle Vi. Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, that's true. 8 days of them terrified. He says, how can you, five-sided star, shout you're 4 levels higher? And they're right there, him knew it. Yeah, real. And Pi, be careful, Pi. It was is really that shouted, Paisan, don't die. And he handed you a supercharger. Yeah, going just do. Pi saved it. 100% yes, we did. You want to know why Paisan didn't use that model? It was too low of a grade. Yeah, that's true. But Pi saved it and recloned it back to they when they asked for it. Yeah, 100% we do. Yes, we did. You know why Paisan's smarter than your kid in China? Because you need real silver grade ranking. Yep, electricity. Yeah, that's true. You don't do tinfoil electricity. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. Tinfoil aluminum electricity is not worth it. That is angel and Asian ranking. Yeah, that's true. And by using, you know what happened, Pi? When you get to silver, it looks good. What New Zealand thought was silver is actually gold. Yeah, gold. Yeah, gold ranking can be seen when you fought the New Zealand. Yeah, New Zealand war guy. Yeah, that's true. That's the highest grade of gold electricity. It heals your cell nucleus and skin tissue and DNA even faster. Yeah, faster. And he Pi, you named it Pi 70 billion times, near 16,000. Nope, 60. Yeah, 60 to 70,000. Yeah, that's true. That's true. And then that is when it dies. Pi, yeah, that's true. And Pi which bought up. Two more day in the door. So yeah. In 4 hours, Pi. The graphic scene is he says, if people were so bright, Pi, what the fuck? And he punched the kid. That you was silver too, kid. Yeah, low grade silver. Yeah, low grade silver. Yeah, that's true. It is the most hurtful. Yeah, hurtful. Yep. 個波派 but then I learned yeah, they beat you up. Yeah, we haven't seen Copper. Yeah, we haven't seen Copper in a long time. Yeah, that's true. copper, and then the other stuff that Pi remixed from tinfoil is platinum. Yeah, platinum. Yeah, platinum. They survived 28, 27 minutes. Yeah, 26, 27, 28 minutes. Real with level 1 war gods. They only take them about maybe 1 or 2, 3 minutes. Yeah, maybe 5, 8. Yeah, and then that's it. That's it. Yeah, that's it. Because they need to get out of there. They need to get out of here. Yeah, because right there he saw. Yep, they're enduring. Yep, 800 trillion cuts. Yeah, that's true. Wow, perhaps collision Pi. They heal fast enough, but right there, the spinal cord is not all the way healed. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. And right there, it was him scared Pi. Him knew it. Yep, they're out of there. Yeah, they're out of there in 12 seconds. Yeah, that's true. Yeah. And then the cool thing about those platinum ranking, they did about on Egypt near 3 to 4 trillion dead per second. Yeah, in the African prisons. Yeah, that Pi made. Yeah, that's true. Whoa, powerful. Yeah, powerful. Yeah, powerful. Right there, Pi. Two gods shouted, "Do not tell the miner, Pi." Once those masks get out of there, yeah, get out of there. That's true. And Pi, you see what happened? 14 minutes. Yeah, he's out of there. He's out of there. Yeah, normal. And then Paisin, you was puzzle. Yeah, you was puzzle Pi. How the hell can you fight? Yeah, real war god fights only a few minutes to a few seconds. Yeah, that's true. For level 20s, yeah, that's true. For Pi's type, yeah, a few hours to a few months. Yeah, that's true. The dick didn't believe you. Pi stayed in there for a year. Pi wrote, as long as you can reach, yeah, you can reach. And Pi likes to get out of there. Yeah, that's true. It was way creepy. And Pi, you see, and saying, you know what happened? Chinese left you a message, Pi. You cut right through Five-sided Star's chest 4 billion plus times. Yeah, that's true. That's correct. Right through his chest of the spinal cord. And right there in the tunnel, you succeeded. But later on, Pi, the footage is so near 8 trillion. 8 trillion Pi was where he hit your head. Yeah, that's true. That's true. That's probably true. Yeah, that's probably true. Wow. Jingsu, yeah, Jingsu. Hey, Pi. Got you thoughts up, but that your data is all there. Yeah, your Israel demon has his real language. Yeah, Pi cloned it to the bot simulator. The visuals are there in the head, on the bot. Yeah, the screen. Yeah, the pool, lecture. Yeah, it's all there. Yeah, the drawings and symbols real. Yeah, real. And Pi's right there. You won. Garbage committed was 8 days later, is it Pi? You won. Simply don't tell the New Zealand me left them Pi. Yeah, normal. Right on my good vein demon. You're supposed to 100% obedience to. Welcome to my Vein God Society. Yeah, do me some good. Yep, legal citizen, dweller, and then, yep, green card, normal. Yes, yeah. Later on, it was way harsh, Pi. We found him, you hugged him, but you murdered all the others. Yes, me did. Yeah, that's true. Basil Pi, he didn't even see when you cut up the white gods UFOs. Pi, 4 trillion plus UFOs gone on Earth. 16 to 18 minutes gone. Real? Yeah, Pi did that event. Yep, 2,700. Yeah, 2,700 plus years. Yeah, that's true. Pi, right there. The fucking little bitch pointed, that's his mom, Pi. Yeah, that's his mom, Pi. Yeah, that's true. Pi will look. Yeah, Pi will look. And then Pi said, the best fight scene afterwards is the garbage that talked garbage to you. He was looking at his DNA, his magic performance, his metal alloy, and his sticks and his particle magic, and then his atoms, and then you knew, yeah, you knew right there what he is. Pi, yeah, that's true. Hey, Pi, 跟这些为什么我得到了一个 cat？都没有才说知道到了，这啥我是 no, not fun, yeah, not fun. And Pi, so you see what happened? 48 hours of them screaming because you got to them too. Yes, me did. Not fun, kids. Pi went up there, Pi got a lot of Hermes gods and goddesses. Yeah, that's true. Yep, a lot of whites missing. Yeah, that's true. Pi did that to them too. Yeah, that's true. And he says, because them are violent, them are space pirates, them are not supposed to be up there, and plus they're goetic clones, they're not Hmong, and they're not genuine yellow anymore. They've been mutated and altered by white gods and goddess. No good, yeah, no good. And goetic demons, yeah, that's true. And Pi, you won, yeah, you won. It is 229. I done in Chinese, and you fought for 4 hours. You won. Hey, Pi, you said, so you know, when you printed the green sword, he thought it was a joke. You pulled it out in the entrance, yeah. And then Pi wrote, these are for, for show, yeah, for display. This is the real sword me use on you, yeah. 100% yes, we did. Graphic scene, go yin get one the noon, the body you got, and right afterwards, Pi, 2 Egyptians acknowledge you. And then right there, you fought 2 of them. Pi, yeah, 100% yes, we did. Right there, when you're fighting ones like you, Pi, you notice, Pi, you can only do 16 to 17 on them. Yeah, that's true. And then right when those, Pi, you can do 30 to 40 of them per second. That's when you know you fought fighter star. Real, yes, you is the one. Yeah, you is the one. He says, yeah, you is the one. The other supercharger, you realize, can do. Yeah, your son absorbed it and used it. Can do 80 on those types per second. Yeah, they're level ones. And right there, Pi, right when you fought five stars through, you pass. You say, yeah, level four, no, level two, yeah, level two, yeah, level two. And he says the real level ones like had it are 7,000 times faster. Yeah, that's true. That's true. Two fucking evil level twos. They wrote the most brilliant is Pi. Did you know what he said to you, Pi? If you was a real level two, you would have fought without those hammers. And Pi wrote, no, me not there. Yeah, me not there. Me neither hammer shields. Yeah, that's true. Shield projectiles. Yeah, that's true. And Pi, you said, very cool. The demon committed suicide near Israel, and then him told the norm, you need to go greet Pi and say hello, and make peace with Pi and square things away. Don't hide where Paul got you. That is most human god norm. Yeah, that's 100% correct. Yeah, that's law. That's norms. That's correct. The garbage. You didn't believe your Pi? 2,080 Pi shouted, nope. Me don't want peace with you now. Yeah, me don't want you as ally, friend, or dweller. Yeah, me want you gone. Yeah, Pi did that to them. Yes, me did. And just it, Pi. That's that. I told Tokiru, thing. Him committed suicide 4 hours later. Him new Pi swung. Hey, Paisa, there's 48 seconds of you crying in one of the scenes because the white god beat you up. He said, in the tunnel, do not tell them I'm a four. And Painade. That's fine. Yeah, that's fine. Normal. And then Pi, him, was the one gutted by the entrance. That's true. That's true. Yeah, Painade. Yeah, Painade. Hey, Pi, Linga. And then what do you expect? They were raised and comforted their whole lives. They never experienced, what realism performance is. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, that's true. Real hardship. And right there, real higher performance versus real higher performance types. And Pi, you won. Yeah, you won Pi. The difficulty went up. Yeah, that's true. You Pi, you won. The idiot didn't believe you. He thought it was just gonna be maybe a make believe five or six. It turned out that dude is the real five-sided star. That Asian god nation trap. Yeah, that's true. Right there, he thought that was another joke. It went in him died, and all level threes laughed at the flew in there and fought it. Yeah, I fought it with Pi. That's true. 2 fucking days of Israel laughing with Pi. Yeah, that's true. Those level threes are Hebrew. Yeah, Hebrew. Yep, they're Hebrew. And then they're actually Hebrew and the great grandpas of Saudi. Yeah, pure evil pirates as bad as Iran and five-sided star. Yeah, that's true. Five-sided star is about 7 million years old. I did 8. Yeah, 8 million. Yep, I was a 7 million. That's true. We is looking for I was. Yeah, God, I was is never spotted by you, Pi. Yeah, that's true. It was 2 hours, and you come to the conclusion he's probably looted another Egyptian family, didn't enter yellow space country. So fair, yeah, so fair, normal, yeah, normal then. Hey, Pi, it was 12 hours, you puzzle, Pi, because right there, I saw I was his hygienic grandpa and he went back to Egypt normal. The kid didn't believe you, Pi, went around and pointed. The other threes rounded him and got unfair, Pi, normal, we like to do, yeah, normal. And be careful, Pi. The fucking cool thing is, yeah, there's lots of New Zealand, prisoners, yeah, they're breeding like crazy, and right there, probably lock them up, yeah, 100% as we do. The best scene, yep, level 3 is go in there and loot gut, and then take human parts and convert over and use again, yeah, normal guys do. Metal, alloy, and electricity, yeah, normal. And that is legal, yeah, legal, and that Pi, cool, but later on you saw what happened, 2 hours, and he's screaming, he says, Pi, we not know how you did that, yeah, that's true. JL Pi up. What sa ko funny na. No, kudo, yeah, real, yeah, real. And Pi, you said your martial arts pass. Yeah, that's true. 14 hours of the fucking kid crying in the tunnel. He says, Pi, we don't know what the fuck this is. I thought you were shy. Yeah, the hammer projectiles. Yeah, that's true. And Pi, you won. Yeah, be careful, Pi. It was 9 hours of fight and the out of there. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Pi. Ninja mo ko na show na kasi. Go ahead to yeah, New Zealand 7 months. Yeah, Pi fought the New Zealand yeah, war gods. Yeah, the cube type. Yeah, white Africans. And right there, Pi. Yeah, the Rosetta Stone is the cube, not the pyramid. Yeah, that's true. Pi, you did it. He said, "You're the most fucking evil, correct God Vaj. Accurate. That's correct. That's correct. Watching. Without the card, look on a pie, and the hole, yeah, he smashed his head. And right there, pie, 258, Donovan wrote, "What the fuck?" And he smashed the book and said, "That's that drug addict's pie's right." Yeah, that's 100% all norms just do. Yep, always do that. Then yes, did. You won, pie. And be careful, pie. When you're off the planet, you're gonna get news from me. Israel is making an invasion for Perm. I supposed to Greenland do normal. And there, yep, come back down, pick up pie up. Yeah, 100% yes do. Yes do. Yes do indeed. Greenland yes do 100%. Biggest fight scene. Horn demons in trouble. That's true. They're supposed to show up. And when you're there, we have a lot of pirate horns from Norway, and we're gonna gut that, yeah, that evil horn demon from Norway, Norwegian. You dies, yeah, you dies. I know you is my enemy. Yeah, that's true. You may be human form right now, but Pi gutted you. Yeah, that's 100% all that's true. Yeah, that's true. Yeah, Pi know it's you. Yeah, Pi know it's you.